There have been many great kings originating from what is now modern-day Nigeria. We oftentimes look towards southern Nigeria as an example of prominent rulers coming out of that region, or we even look toward the Hausa Fulani states in the north. But it would seem as if we completely ignore one of the greatest kings in African history, coming straight out of Nigeria. What up, African world? It's Home Team here, and I'm back at it with another video of African history, culture, and worldview. And as always, if you want to support the Home Team, you can do so on patreon.com. I have some new rewards for you guys, so be sure to check that out. Also, go to Afrographics.com, a website where you can find unique illustrative infographics summarizing African history. All links to Patreon, Afrographics, and Home Team merchandise are in the description box below. So today, I'm talking about King Idris Uluma, the greatest king of Nigeria. When we think of Nigerian kings, it seems as though we kind of ignore him, perhaps because he was in the far northeast of Nigeria and was associated on some level with another group of people entirely, especially outside of Nigeria, and you'll understand what I mean a little later in this video. But we have to remember that Idris Uluma was a homegrown Nigerian and made Nigeria his base of operation. The history of the greatest Nigerian king ironically begins in Chad, with the civil unrest of the Kanem Empire. By 1366, the Bulala had again began a campaign of military attacks against the Kanem Empire, which was ruled by Mai Duad at the time. When the new king of Kanem, named Mai Umar, rose to power in 1382, the attacks from the Bulala continued, eventually forcing the Kanem Empire to move from the current capital of Njimi. The Bulala at this time took control of the capital city of Njimi and the surrounding region of Kanem. The people of Kanem then fled to Borno in northern Nigeria, and there a new ethnic group was formed, from the Kanembu intermarrying with the local population. This new ethnic group came to be known as the Kanuri. A new king, Mai Ali Gaji, rose to power in 1472 and established strong trade links with some of the Hausa kingdoms. Trade between the two powers increased, encouraging the exchange of goods such as ivory, ostrich feathers, food products, and glass. In 1484, Mai Ali Gaji constructed the city of Ngazagarmu in Yobe State, Nigeria, and that became the capital of the Borno Empire. The Borno Empire became so powerful that they were able to take back Kanem and make their empire even bigger, becoming the Kanem-Borno Empire. In 1564, the most famous and most powerful Mais of Kanem-Borno came to the throne. His name was Mai Idris Uluma. Idris was the son of Mai Ali and Queen Amza. His father was of the Kanuri people and his mother was a Bulala, and his base of power was at Ngazagarmu in Nigeria. His empire stretched from northern Nigeria all the way into Chad and parts of southern Libya. Much of what is known about this great Nigerian ruler comes from the very detailed records of his chronicler, Ahmad ibn Fartua. Now, at this time, there were four very powerful rulers in the Islamic world, which were known as caliphs or sultans. The four rulers were the Sultan of Baghdad in Iraq, the Sultan of Cairo in Egypt, the Sultan of Borno, who was King Idris Uluma, and the Sultan of Songhai in Mali. The German explorer Heinrich Barth provides the following description of Mai Idris Uluma. He is an excellent prince, uniting in himself the most opposite qualities, warlike energy combined with circumspection and patience, severity with pious feelings. A case for Idris Uluma being the greatest Muslim African ruler can genuinely be made. There is no doubt that he rivals the great Mansa Musa of Mali for that title. Idris Uluma was a devout Muslim and made his pilgrimage to Mecca in Arabia in 1571, and he brought back many scholars from the Middle East and North Africa. He established an Islamic court across the kingdom and also Islamic judges, known as Qadis. He also constructed a hostel in Mecca for the Muslims of Kanem to stay at when on pilgrimage. Idris Uluma also encouraged the construction of mosques in the kingdom out of clay and the development of a new type of boat for the transportation of his army along the Yobe River. The new boats were built from a local tree known as fogo. In the realm of religion, Idris Uluma saw the spread of Islam as a duty and a political necessity. He made Islam a state religion for all the notables of Borno as well as his subjects. His own pious conduct set an example for his subjects and encouraged strict adherence to the tenets of Islam. His numerous contacts with the Islamic world, including Turkey, earned him great respect throughout the world and helped to increase the prestige of his empire. Judicial affairs in Borno under Mai Idris Aluma were organized in line with Sharia, the Islamic code of law. Numerous Muslim scholars from North Africa were attracted to the court, which took on a sort of cosmopolitan character, partly under their influence, coupled with the sights and experiences of his pilgrimage. Idris introduced a number of reforms that attempted to bring his empire increasingly in line with other Islamic lands. The Sharia was substituted for customary law in several matters, while the adjudication of cases was transferred from the traditional rulers to the Muslim magistrates, the Qadi, who also served as legal advisors to the local leaders. Under Idris Aluma, learning flourished as the learned class, or ulama, received constant encouragement from him. He built brick mosques that superseded those of reeds, especially in his headquarters at Ngazagarmu. On the whole, Idris Aluma increased the prosperity of Borno and the wealth of his citizens. Trade was boosted as the Kanuri Empire maintained an effective control of trans-Saharan trade. His conquest of the Tuareg in particular ensured Kanem Borno's control of the important trade routes to Tripoli. He brought the Borno Empire to a prosperous era, securing for it the greatest territorial extent and its highest prestige in the entire central and western Sudan. His achievement was more striking as it coincided with the overthrow of Songhai, the counterpart and rival of Borno to the west, which was conquered by the Moroccans at the Battle of Tondibi in 1591. It's significant that when the Songhai forces were defeated by the Moroccans, the fugitive Askia Ishak sought refuge in Borno territory. Records indicate that Idris Aluma was active at home as a soldier and administrator. With foreign affairs, he was a skilled diplomat and negotiator, corresponding with the major Islamic powers of his days. Much of Borno's success under Idris was achieved by his army, the efficiency of which was greatly enhanced by numerous innovations in the spheres of transportation, supply, armaments, and leadership. Although he was well served by able commanders, it was Idris himself who was the leader and architect of Kanuri victories. Shortly after his ascension, he established diplomatic relations with the rulers of North Africa, especially Tripoli, and from them he was able to obtain muskets and a band of expert Turkish musketeers who helped him train his men and decide the issues of some of his most serious battles. Taking advantage of the numerous caravans who came from North Africa with many Arab horses and camels for sale, he built a large and well-equipped cavalry. As a good tactician and soldier himself, he equipped his troops with arms and saw to their efficient training by the Turks. With a skillful deployment of his forces, Idris Aluma embarked on numerous campaigns of subjugation and empire building in and around the Lake Chad area. Within his kingdom, he subdued the Sao people, who had constantly threatened Borno since the reign of Mai Ali Gaji, and captured their stronghold of Damasak. He also directed his military attention against the troublesome Tatala and Kotoko, whose power and threat he neutralized. He then turned west against northern Hausaland, especially the province of Kano, although his army failed to take Kano city. To the northwest, he repulsed the Tuareg, whose province of Ahir he successfully dismantled. With these and related military campaigns, he was able to destroy all resistance to Kanuri rule in the Lake Chad area, embark on the unification of Borno, and consolidate his authority in the region. Unfortunately, after a successful tenure spanning about 32 years, an aging Idris Aluma was assassinated when on an expedition in a marsh called Olu near Maiduguri in the northwestern part of present-day Nigeria. Well, I'm all out, guys. If you like these videos and want to help out in its continued production, please consider supporting the home team on patreon.com. The link is in the description box below. Know thyself. Remember your ancestors. Peace.